Honest.
Right. So, good evening, all of you. Nice, and thank you very much to Vamsi for accepting to speak. Of course, the profile of Vamsi and what he brings to the table is shared with everyone. But I know Vamsi for last, I think, good 2-3 years now, easily, maybe a little more. And I could see his journey as he was laying foundations in terms of getting into the rural market, rural basis, not only from a market point of view. I would like to uh, specify this point, also from a point where how do you empower people from the rural masses, including women empowerment programs, uh, and create an ecosystem out of it. So at least very loosely defined, and I'm sure Vamsi will elaborate a little more on this. His enterprise Hesa today is like a Amazon to the rural market. And I can tell you it's very underserved. I could see his journey when he started with AP Telangana, but I can see now that he is able to expand and also take it globally, because and that is one aspect that I was sort of following Vamsi bits and pieces, so I can gather that he is also pretty much out in the global markets today, because the model that he has created in the rural spaces is very exciting. And we will have Vamsi, of course, to talk about it. And we will structure the talk accordingly. So I understand that, Vamsi, you will have a presentation to share, which will be the base of probably having this discussion. So if you allow, Vamsi, it could, I mean, we will leave the choice to you the way you would want to conduct it. If you want to maybe probably do the discussion first and then we get into the Q&A, we do it that way, or whichever ways you want to have it more discussion oriented in between, we can do it that way. So that choice is completely yours. We will probably continue till about next 40 minutes or so, 45 minutes, and have a Q&A. So we sort of at around 7 is when we will put a hard stop to the session. So that's how it is. To rest of you, I would request, if you are not speaking, please be on mute. Encourage all of you to put your question on the chat box so that we know. And of course, you will have the chance to ask the question yourself. So that's fine. Vamsi, all yours. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Chandan. I mean, I'm very happy to actually be here. I've actually gone through your, your profile. Not only your profile, when I say your charter profile and the kind of people, I mean, I feel that whether I have that much experience or right to actually come and talk here. But let me explain whatever I have gained, certain knowledge. So myself, Vamsi Udayagiri, I'm the founder and CEO of Hesa. The way we would, have this conversation is, for first 5-6 minutes, let me give my introduction. Then, I'll explain about my model. Then it sets the context, and then probably we can actually get into, question. I mean, like, let's keep it interactive session so that, it's not a kind of a, GAN session. So with that, allow me to share my screen. Give me a. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
So let me start with, kind of my journey so that you'll understand from where I have come and what I have learned before I started what I started. So as I said, I'm Vamsi Udayagiri. I was born in a village which has 200 households. So that kind of a very rural, 80 kilometers from Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh. But luckily, my parents, they got education. So then they migrated to, urban, and I got not in urban in the sense it's a small town, and, where I got, my education, and then I did my engineering, and then I went on becoming a supply chain consultant. And that's when around 2010, this bug of doing something, that too, especially on the rural, has actually stuck me. And that's where I started the journey of exploring, what I wanted to do in life. So this started in 2010, September, where, I just left my job and, started my journny into rural. Today, I'm so happy that, in the first 18 months, I've traveled almost 4,000 plus villages across 7-8 states, just to understand how various value chains work, like how employment is there, how agriculture is working, how distribution happens. Like that, worked on various things. And this is the first day, in my work into rural, where I actually interacted with few youth, in Medak district in Telangana. When I went and talked to them, for a week, I've been, going to that same particular village. I'm observing certain, group of youth just sitting at a tea shop, doing nothing, chit-chatting and all. Then I asked them, like, why you're not able to do certain job or something. They said, you know, we don't get enough job opportunities. We have to migrate to an urban. First of all, we don't even get an information of where the job is. Otherwise, we have to go to a city like Hyderabad, which is like 80 kilometers from this place, to find a job. And that's where, I decided, like, let's start something called a mobile job alerts, just to, understand, like, how it works, and, how I can actually help them do that. Then we started something called job alerts for 1 rupee per day. In 19th October 2010, we launched. I realized that I think, my strength is more in Andhra Pradesh than in Telangana, because I belong to that Vijayanagaram district. So I went there, leaving my family, and I started this job alert programs and all. We did a lot of, job drives and all. We helped people to get, jobs. Everything's going fine, but couple of things, it's not working commercially, like, the model that I've created. And second thing, it was always bothering me is, like, I was actually helping people to migrate from rural to urban, which is against the principle, because I'm helping somebody to get a job in Hyderabad. So that means he or she is leaving his village. So then I thought, I think there is something I'm doing wrong, because we have to create opportunities for people in the villages. And that's where always I wanted to, do it. That's when I introspected. When I again traveled, then I realized that there is a lot of, electricity challenges are there in the villages. Then I started, solar, kind of promotions, helping to promote solar in the rural. We were doing good. In fact, in almost less than 6 months, we scaled the business to 1 crore, but realized that I think the real problem came after the sales support is coming in. Like, we're not having that expertise to actually support these solar products. So I think after these couple of setbacks, I would say it's a good setbacks, because my idea is to learn, like, what I wanted to do it. That's when, I thought that, okay, I'm like, let's ideate something. And whatever today I'm doing in Hesa, I got this idea in 2012. At that time, with my limited knowledge, I have coined this as Palle Seva. Palle is village and Seva is service. That was the seed of our, Hesa model, like, where we will actually, integrate various things. Like, there are women groups, there are youth, there are farmers. So why can't we create a holistic marketplace? Again, no idea how to do it, what to do it, but that was initially, I kind of got this idea and I coined it. This was the, kind of copyright. I made it in 2012. And then I realized that immediately, that I think with no technology, with almost less mobile penetration, internet penetration, and more than anything, my experience to work in rural, I realized that I think, it's not worthwhile to start at this moment. So I shelved this idea, and then, that's where between 2012 till 2019, I hustled a lot in terms of understanding what are all the various challenges. Then I realized that I think, irrespective of whether we are selling job alerts, whether we are selling solar products, or in between we sold some other products or services, I realized that the way we are selling the products and services, the way we are marketing, the way we are, creating a concept around it, that was the difference. So then I started, focusing on creating promotions, branding, last mile promotions into the rural, which became the seed for what we are doing today at Hesa. So without much, get into it, this is where in 2020, April, during the peak of the COVID, Hesa was born. So it's the culmination of what I've learned for almost 8-9 years before actually, I started the model that I wanted to start. And give me now. So I think at Hesa, we revolutionize the way commerce is done at rural. So I will see, the thing is, again, as I said, I'm not a subject matter expert. I will try to give insights based on what we have learned and what we are doing at Hesa. So there may be some, a conversation about Hesa, but it's not that I'm pitching Hesa here. That's not my, objective here. But what we're trying to do in Hesa.
Vamsi, if I may just probably take on this part, I think it's perfect that you should speak about Hesa and the model.
Yeah,
because I think one of the other thing that we will bring to the table, as most, I think all of them who have connected so far are all practicing consultant. And I'm sure not many of us, me for sure, will have the depth in the rural market for sure. And how it works, because that's a very different world, to be honest. I mean, it may look simpler than as you get do a dipstick, but it's a different world altogether. I'm sure whatever you do and the way it will just help. Possibly, if you can also throw some perspective around where you see are the real gaps which still exist,
Yeah,
and
yeah, sure.
possibly where the consulting world can also.
I have actually, kind of, point that. So yeah, thanks for, setting the context. So yeah, so what I've observed from 2012, 10 to 2020 is take any persona in a village, be it a farmer, be it a housewife, be it a youth who wants to get a job. End of the day, it's a family or a household who is a customer. Unlike an urban or a town consumer where we have many avenues, like for example, I'm sitting in Hyderabad, I want something, I can order less than half an hour, less than 10 minutes. In fact, there is a war going on in between, like, how fast somebody will deliver. Or otherwise, I can travel hardly 2 kilometers. I'll get literally everything what I want. Be it money withdrawal, be it paying my insurance, be it buying, clothes, buying FMCG products, online, offline, there are many opportunities. In the towns, yes, the towns are with the dense population. Today, you travel 1 to 2 kilometers, you literally get almost everything, if not 100%, at least 80-90% of it, you get in at least a small or a big town. But unlike town or urban, the real challenge is when you get into a village which has less than 20,000, 10,000, 5,000, 3,000 population, because the same customer, unlike an urban or a town customer, having all the requirements that they have to go to 10 different places. Like, for example, if I'm a farmer, I have to buy agri inputs, so I have to go to a nearby town or a district headquarters or at least a block level. I want to sell the produce that I have produced. I need to go to a market, mandi nearby, or to a nearby town or a large district to actually sell it. At the same time, I have a family, so I need to buy FMCG products. So I need to buy clothes, I need to buy insurance, I need to buy cattle feed. The list is endless. Like today, an urban can actually, in an urban consumer can get into 10 different apps because that's how the focus has been. But literally, these people have to go to 10 different places to get all these things. That's where the real challenge, we have observed that the rural families or the consumers have. And adding to that, 90% of people, living in rural are, producing or, they are farmers. So they have two-way requirements. Either they are a farmer or they are a self-help group, handloom self-help group processing something. So they have both buy and sell requirements. And that's where the problem even, gets intensified. And if you look at the problem, even as I said, it goes even tougher when you go beyond tier 3 and 4, as I said, below 20,000, 10,000, 5,000 population. And we have around, out of 97 crore rural population, around 67 to 70 crore people live in villages less than 20,000 population. And that's where it's a huge gap, where all these people are not getting what they want and they have to go to 10 different places to get. And that's where the real challenge is, they're facing it. And if you look at this is again, depicting the same thing in terms of like, what is the scale of the agri-tech market? Like if you look at it by 2025, agri-tech is a 24 billion kind of a market. FMCG is like, 100 billion market. And agri-tech, when I talk about it, it's only the input side of it. The output side of it is like at least 10 times bigger than that. And the fintech is like, huge, almost 100 billion market size. Digital payments is growing. So there is a huge potential, and not to forget, rural India is the world's largest customer base because you don't find one population set which is around 70 crore living in villages less than 20,000 population. That's even, more than the Chinese rural population. So that's where, the problems are at the same size, the opportunity is huge because these people, are not getting the enough opportunities, as I said. And if you look at why they are not able to get it, it's because it's very tough for a business to actually go and, serve them in a village because unit economics doesn't work out. Let's say I'm a superstore, I'm a bank, or I'm an agri input market, input shop. I cannot go and set up my shop in a village of 5,000 because economics doesn't work out. My cost of operation will be so high that I'll not be able to match the revenues that I generate from these businesses, the business there. So that has really made businesses tough to get into rural. Added to that, time to market for rural is very high. the demand is fragmented. Like, for example, a lot of people ask me, like, why today Amazon can deliver, why, what is relevance of it? Amazon, see, today I also use Amazon. I go to a village of 5,000, I order it. Amazon doesn't deliver this product because one, the economics doesn't work out to deliver a product of 500 or 1,000. But in our case, anyway, I'll explain about how we do it. But I mean, I'm talking about an overall market. Why businesses are not able to scale to the rural? It's because the demand is fragmented. For example, if I'm living in Bangalore, if I'm a super fast e-commerce delivery guy, within 2 kilometers I can get 2 lakh customers. That's the density I have. But if I have to get the same 2 lakh people, I have to get into 600 villages. That's how the demand has been fragmented and broken supply chain, because again, the logistics, the warehousing, the supply chain, these are all real challenges in the rural that has not made businesses to go and expand into the rural. And most important thing, rural largely thrives on relationship and trust. Until unless I know somebody, I trust somebody, it's very tough to actually do it. So it's not that somebody easily can actually order on some urban e-com player or some other place, because it drives on largely relationship and trust. That's where it makes it tough for the businesses to go and operate in a village. And again, this is a different way of depicting the same thing. As I said, time to market is like 2.5 times bigger than the urban. Loan schemes doesn't reach to almost 60% of the people. Average ATM distance is like close to 9 to 10 kilometers. Average bank is like 16 kilometers. Average superstore is 26 kilometers from a village anywhere. So that's where the challenges for a traditional businesses or the modern players, it becomes tough, because it doesn't work such a way, same way. Because when I started promoting only agri products or solar products, it didn't work because economics doesn't work out. When I'm only promoting job alerts, it doesn't work out. So that's where we realized that rural India needs a marketplace, irrespective of the vertical. And this is where we've actually started a super app, a rural commerce platform for rural India called Hesa, where anything and everything that a customer need has been integrated into a one super app called Hesa, and offered to a village level influencer or an entrepreneur whom we call as a Hesathi, who is physically present in a village, because there is a trust, large trust factor that is attached. And more importantly, he or she has a social influencing with the fellow consumer. So to keep it simple, let's say I'm a Hesathi or a village level entrepreneur living in a 1,000 population village, which is close to 200 to 250 families. All these 200 families collectively have certain agri input requirements, FMCG requirements, insurance requirements, money withdrawal requirements. I kind of do the aggregate demand, generation for them, so that the fulfillment happens, is with them. And that's how we have a physical network of village level entrepreneurs connected through a digital platform called Hesa. And that's the model that we have created. And it's not that we are the first one to do that. There are many, models. Like, for example, the microfinance industry is depending on this kind of a model. There are a lot of rural village level VLE driven models are there. But the differentiation we came up with is, all these platforms or all these models that are present till we came are only catering to either a one product line or a one service line. Like, either I'm only doing into micro insurance, or I'm only into let's say providing solar lanterns to somebody, or financial services products to somebody. So that's where economics doesn't work out, as I said, because the consumer being the same. I'm the same consumer. Today morning I need to buy FMCG product. Afternoon I want to buy a sprayer. Tomorrow I want to buy, let's say, a two-wheeler insurance for me. Next day I want to sell the produce. The same customer being the same. How can you niche an entire story around that? We have kept the consumer in between so that we can create or niche, knit an entire story around that. So that's the model that we have created. And we have, many personas who are these profiles, like, somebody, as I said, who is a woman group member because he or she, she has an influencing capacity with the fellow women members, somebody who is a progressive farmer, somebody who is a retired person, somebody who is a Kirana store owner, somebody who is youth. And in fact, this youth is the major segment for us, because these youth, as I said, in 2010, 11, what I have felt that, these people are migrating, because today, whoever you see as an Uber driver or a Swiggy delivery boy or a security guard, they all migrated because they don't get enough opportunities in the villages. So while we are serving the consumer base in getting what they want, The underlying concept we have kept is create an impact, where all these village level entrepreneurs, be it the first time youth I'm mentioning about, these women groups, these farmer communities, truck drivers, they're getting now income generating opportunities. All they need to do is to have that influencing capacity in a village. They have to be little entrepreneurial, and so that, they can start earning a decent income sitting from their own village. We have like more than 40,000 such village level entrepreneurs in 5 states. We have a coverage of almost 80,000 villages. That's anyway about Hesa. But point is, there are these people, they are like, earning anywhere from 2,000-3,000 extra to, 8,000, 15,000. And we have certain people who are earning more than 40,000-50,000 per month living in their own village. So that's the kind of, the value addition, this model has created. So as I said, what is the value proposition in terms of this, digital model that we have created is, when I was doing rural promotions, I realized that, for example, Bajaj wanted me to promote their product into a village, or Crompton asked me to promote their product into a village. So what normally any brand, a promotional guy does is they take certain resources from a town, nearby town, and then they promote that product into a village. Evening, they come back. What if after 10 days or 15 days, somebody wants to buy the product? Where do they go? How is the awareness being created? Where is the access to get these products? There is no continuous visibility of these products there. And as I said, it's so fragmented. At least let's say one person has, wanted to buy, but, that order is not an aggregated order so that somebody can actually do it. So these are all, the value proposition, what we have done in terms of, for the customer, it's a doorstep access. For the businesses, it's the last mile coverage. For the entrepreneurs, it's like an extra income or a, decent income generating model. So that's how, the value proposition we have created. So, yeah, I mean, like, again, as I said, it's all aligned to the national as well as the SDG goals, where like we're creating a lot of empowerment opportunities into the villages. We're creating livelihoods into the villages. There's a lot of today we have almost 40% of our Hesatis being women, and they generate a decent income there and all. Yeah, now coming to the insights part of what I'm talking about. So across last 3 years, when we work, what we have observed is, today, out of these, as I said, 70 crore people, or 17 to 20 crore families, because average Indian family size is 4 to 4.5. In North India, maybe around 4.6, South India, 3.84. So averaging of 4.3 per family. Today, they're spending, money on various things, like where they want to buy FMCG product. They want, they're buying, clothes, they're buying agri imports, they're, using on utilities. There are a lot of these requirements, and kind of detailed map in terms of like what typically what is the family income size. Like let's say 10 to 15,000 is their family monthly income, and they are like spending into these buckets, and where they are spending, how they are spending, how frequently they are spending. So that's where we've done a detailed, insights of analysis of it. Like for example, around 23% of consumers' wallet goes to spices and pulses, which is, I buy dal, I buy masalas, I buy turmeric powder, I buy chili powder. That's where there is a, huge opportunity to do that. Or again, as I said, around 20% of my, if I'm into agri community, 20% of my, money gets into, either agri inputs or cattle related, dairy related, across all those things, or insurance related to agri and all, because, that's where, they're spending the money on. And this is where we've kind of created a complete, kind of a map in terms of, okay, these are all the various requirements. So let's bring in these kind of a products, these kind of a services. So where today we created, our app where multiple modules have been integrated, so that as an end consumer, whatever is my need, I just come to a Hesati and I say that, okay, this is what I wanted, and, it's being served. So the way we work is, today, and by the way, we have given a WhatsApp intervention to the end consumer also, which I'll probably, if we have time, I'll demonstrate on how easily. And this is one insight, because I mean, everybody talks about a super app, want to launch a super app with all the features and all. But end of the day, the customer, either the end consumer or the Hesathi, though they are tech savvy, few people are tech savvy. I mean, it's not their core, thing. Like for example, probably my mindset, I have never ordered anything on any online platform so far. Either I don't order, or I depend on somebody else, because I'm not used to it. And 90% of the people in rural are like that. But people are there on WhatsApp, people are there on calls. So how can we make the life easy for them so that by just calling they can actually order something. I mean, pause for a moment. I mean, let me show you how easily we have kind of done this today. If I'm an end customer, this is integrated through WhatsApp also. I can, but as a demo, I can't share my WhatsApp. So I mean, because on the phone. So let me show you something like this. मेरे को 3 किलो चावल, 5 किलो प्याज, 3 लीटर मिल्क चाहिए. Whatever I have read, the user can open a WhatsApp. He can actually talk like this. It converts into an order. And the relevant suppliers for those, as I said 3 kilo chawal, it read 5 kilo pyaz, it read onions. Now it has created as an order. So it goes inside, and then, it gets into, orders like this so that, somebody accepts it. So we kind of made the life so simple because this is an insight. Because today as an end customer, I don't want to actually, get into a super app. By the way, we have a very big super app which has all the modules, but that's all for the backend only. But for the end customer, it's so simple. Let me show you some other feature. Like again, these are all the insights that we've kind of learned from, from our experiences in rural. So I'll speak in Telugu so that, okay, Telugu you may not understand. So let me speak in Hindi. मेरे पास 3 एकड़ जमीन है रायपुर से 5 किलोमीटर दूर. ईच एकड़ 50 से 55 लाख है. मैं उसको बेचना चाहता हूं. Yeah. So I have a 3-acre land for sale at 55 lakhs near Raipur. It's 5 kilometers from Raipur. Agricultural land is a great opportunity for those looking to invest in land. The property is located just 5 kilometers away from Raipur. It spans across an acre of 3. The land is available for a sale at price of 50 to 55 lakhs. The owner is keen on selling it is soon. Blah blah and again. So I mean the
It's
point.
a chat GPT. It's a chat GPT enabled.
Yeah. I mean, like we created our own, AI tools, like, this Hesa. It's entirely, our own app now.
Yes.
This gets into here where I can actually process it. I can actually, read it. For example,
2 किलो तूर दाल, 5 किलो आशीर्वाद आटा, 15 किलो चीनी, 5 पार्ले.
So, I mean, the point we're trying to say is like this is the insight. Like today, the end customer or a Hesa, like let's make life simple for them. I mean, like we have a super app where I can go here, get into the e-commerce module, add 5-10 different items like how we use an Amazon. That is still there. But the thing is, my customer is not, a tech savvy customer or an internet customer, because on mobile, I cannot see 5 different items. So let's make life simple for them. So this is, one such an insight. But coming back to our talk, so this is what we have enabled today. We have so many modules. Like we have Hesa Mandi, which is the buy-sell marketplace. We have Hesa Agri, which is an agri input marketplace. Hesa Buy, which is an e-commerce marketplace. Hesa One, which is a financial services marketplace. Hesa BTL is like, it's again into events, promotions and all. And this is all the features that we have in the app. But we made, it's so easily for the end customer, because end customer, in fact, we also have a video calling commerce. Probably I'll show you at some other stage where I just call a certain number. It opens a video call. If I'm a customer, it opens the Hesati. If Hesati is not able to sort it, he calls a customer care, center of Hesa. The customer care opens on a video call. Somebody wants to say, ask that, okay, I want to see 36 inches TV. Can you show it? I can actually, select 3 TVs on the screen of the user. 3 TVs are shown. Now, I can play a video to explain what are the features of it. Now he wants to buy it. I'll send a, UPI code. He can actually scan the code. On the call itself, the payment is done and the order is taken. So that's the kind of, deeper, tech-wise or, enabling it. for the end user. But the point here, what I'm trying to do is, I mean, fine, this is all we have made, we're making it so easy. But what is that Hesa is trying to solve? One, we are enabling products and services to the rural, we're creating livelihoods, we're making life easy for the businesses. But that's one part of it. The bigger part, in fact, for people like you who are in the consulting industries, there is a lot of data sets that we are generating for the first time. Today, we work with Procter & Gamble, which is a large, almost second largest brand. We work with Santur Soap, which is having #1 market share in South India. We work with Crompton. We work with what all FMCG brands. Today, we have helped P&G to promote their product in villages less than 10,000 population. We have helped Santur to promote in villages which have less than 7,000 population. The point is, there is no such intelligence as of today in terms of what is that the customer is spending on. As I said, how frequently they are spending, what is their buying patterns, spending patterns, repeated patterns, what is the financial intelligence that they have. And this is what the next big opportunity we are working on in terms of creating these data sets, which will enable not only Hesa, but a lot of other people to tap into multiple opportunities. Like, we can create our own agri-buy-sell marketplaces, which is, again, as I said, it's a huge billion-dollar market. We can launch private label, FMCG private label. As I said, knowing that there is 22% market share going in consumer wallet going into spices and pulses, we launched our own brand called Suhas in April 2022. We are like 1 year, 9 months to it. Monthly, we do almost 15 crore business on only our own white label brand. So that's the opportunity that we have tapped in, because we have realized that most of the, or at least 20% of the pocket is going to spices and pulses. So we launched a range of 13 products, white label. Again, that's a different story. But the opportunity to create FMCG private labels is huge. Today, there is no hyperlocal marketplaces created for rural, which again is a big opportunity. Why do somebody from urban has to send a product to a rural? There is a town nearby 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers. Why can't we create a hyperlocal marketplaces so that people order money in the rural only remain in at least in that particular district or a block rather than getting into a cities or urban? That's a huge opportunity somebody can actually tap into. And financial services, as I said, it's a huge opportunity, either the lending or the loans, insurance, or there are many other opportunities that are getting into. So that's where the insights that we're generating will be helping in tapping into multiple opportunities. So that's largely in terms of how our model works, and a few insights in terms of if you look at only agriculture, like it employs almost 60% of the India's workforce, contributing significantly to the rural economy. And again, as I said, around 83 million households are actually engaged in agriculture. Challenges, if you look at it, small and marginal farmers, out of these 86% of them are small and marginal, where they are struggling to actually make their end meet. They only own 47% of the totally operated area. 86% people own only 47%. So what is the opportunity for us to create a solution for a small and marginal farmers? For high net worth crops or larger farmers, yes, there are a lot of solutions like drones. There are a lot of solutions like precision farming, organic farming. But are there any solutions for small and marginal farmers? So that's an opportunity, a huge opportunity on what agricultural insights can throw on us. As I said, e-commerce, like if you look at it, for the first time in 2020, the actually rural commerce has actually grown by almost 100% from the previous year. And it's consistently, in fact, it has beaten 96%. Now it is like 120%, 130%. Year on year, actually, the rural commerce has been growing mainly towards agriculture, thanks to a lot of the startups who have come, like, healthcare, FMCG, education. So there are many opportunities, that are there in terms of the rural as an economy, if we look into it. So yeah, there are many more, insights that before I kind of share, I would like to pause and, kind of take certain, questions, or is there anything that we wanted to discuss so that, I can actually accordingly structure the next conversation.
Sure.
If you'll allow me, Chandan, may I make an observation if you have a comment? Vamsi, I'm floored. I must say, when Chandan told me about you and your, initiative, I was struck by the idea, and we said we got to invite you to present. But I must confess, I did not know anything about Hesa. But I think kudos to you and your team. You developed something fantastic. And I think something like this is very necessary. And I really see the power of digital India, being leveraged by work that you're doing in almost all respects. So this is fascinating. I just thought I must share my
Thank you.
initial
Thanks a lot.
impression and comment. I think wonderful work.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
So, any questions? I think I have something.
I have a question, Chandan.
Yes, please.
Vamsi, very impressive presentation. I just wanted to ask you, you said you are using influencers in the market to bring people, to bring the business. Why not have some kind of a shop which takes the orders and gives it to you, collects money and sends it to you, and then you provide them with everything that they want?
Yeah. So, in fact, we are doing everything the same what you said, but the only thing is there is no physical store because again, it comes into the unit economics because we opening a store is again like a traditional concept where, the economics doesn't work out. But having said that, yes, most of our village level entrepreneurs, the first room of their house becomes their virtual shop where they get the stocks. But, it's all fast moving. Like I have a demand, then only I'll order, then I'll stock it maximum for a day, and then I'm fulfilling the orders to the customer. And that's how we kind of made this entire, supply chain very, optimal in terms of, because we don't hold any inventory. Like today we do almost 150 crore worth volume of business every month. When I say 150 crore, this is without financial services where somebody is withdrawing, depositing, insurance. These are all physical products moving and we don't hold the inventory. So that's how lean the model that we have created. And the entire model depends on, having a phygital model where let's use the local resources that are there and, kind of empower them with a digital platform. But yes, I see a point in you because while we are scaling, we realize that there has to be a certain physical presence that is required. So we are solving that by two things. One, at a zone level. Zone for us, by definition, is a 1 crore rural population. So typically 2 to 3 districts or sometimes 4 districts is constituted of 1 crore rural population in India. We have one of our office, which is our operational office as well as warehouse. And then we have at a strategic points, we have like an operational Hesati, we have a warehouse Hesati, we have a logistic Hesati. So we're creating multiple opportunities for people to earn. So if let's say I'm living in a strategic location, which is connecting 5 to 6 different routes. And if I have a 50 square meter or 100 square meter, whatever square feet area that is available, I can earn money by bring this opportunity, which is a lean model. So that's how we are working on it.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. Very impressive. I'm extremely impressed by whatever you are doing. See, our professor C.K. Prahlad was the person who initiated this fortune at the bottom of the pyramid.
So this brings me, so in fact, I'm fortunate enough to work with him. In between, I worked from 2006 to 9, I worked in a company called Ramco Systems. It was the IT division of Ramco Cements. And I was fortunate enough to be the part of the core part of the on-demand version of the ERP. And 2006, Ramco is the first to launch the on-demand version of the ERP. I was heading pre-sales, but we were clueless what to do it. And then our chairman, with all his contacts, has called Mr. Sir C.K. Prahlad to us. And almost 6 months he consulted, and at least I was there in 7 to 8 sessions with him. Heated, arguments on for 2 to 3 hours. And how to position our product in the bottom of the pyramid, because all this while we were selling to a Madras Cement or in Ingersoll Road or some motor company for 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs. How can you sell 3,000 per user per month in an Ambattur industrial estate area? And that was where I got an opportunity. And in fact, one of the reasons, there are many experiences throughout my life which made me through that, but definitely my interactions with him also helped me to understand the bottom of the pyramid, and really it helped me to understand how things work on the bottom of the pyramid.
Yeah, I must confess, you have really picked up for yourself a huge opportunity, and that is what is required for India. All the services and goods must spread to the rural areas, because if you want to create happiness, all the hassles of getting daily needs delivered we have to reduce them, and what you are doing. This is exactly what you're doing. Thank you so much, Vamsi, and all the best.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, and in fact, there is a lot to be done. In fact, sometimes in our internal conversations, we get so excited sometimes, but understanding the reality, we say that okay, I mean, like we are still startups. There are things to do it, but
Correct. Yeah.
in fact, how we are delivering, how we have created a gig economy in urban. My next goal is like, how can we create a gig economy in rural? Like
Yes.
how Uber has, created crores of jobs or, lakhs of jobs. How Swiggy has, created lakhs of jobs. How can we create a gig economy in the rural? And I'm already working on it in bits and pieces. So, but that's a huge opportunity again. Like
Also.
two things where, again, it's an income generating opportunity, but more than anything, the migration stops and, people will be living in rural India.
So two questions, Vamsi, if you allow me.
Yeah, please.
The first is, of course, are you now geographically only in AP and Telangana TS and AP and TS, or have you moved to other parts of Middle India or other places?
We are present in 5 states as of now. Andhra, Telangana, obviously, it's almost like 50% of our market share because we started from here. But surprise for me is Orissa. In fact, Orissa, which is the last batch that the state that we started, but that's doing really good, contributing almost 24-25% of our business. And then we have Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. So these are the 5 states. So mostly we are a south and a little bit of east kind of a thing. But yes, we have done small pilots in Maharashtra. In fact, one of the Chandan's team, they've actually, helped us to do some pilots. We have done a pilot in Jharkhand, some pilot in, Gujarat. Maybe, sometime in the next year, we would be scaling across, other geographies. Because what I've realized is, in the markets that we are there, which is the strongest market, my Andhra Pradesh, I am not even covered 15% of the market. And in that market also, if you get into a village, now let's say village has 100 people. Today we have reached to only 13% of the village. So another 80% to 90% to cover in the village. Now, if I get into the consumer that I have covered, we have not even touched, 15 to 16% of his wallet only. So another 85%. So each of these basis points, if we start moving in, so that's why we thought, let's move deeper first, penetrate more geographies in the same zones, add more Hesapis, add more consumers, add more wallet share, add more products, then profitability, and then, further scale. And happy to share that we are EBITDA positive, in 3 years of our operations. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. And second was about funding. It's good to know you're positive, EBITDA is positive, but how are you funded? Have you been backed by, let's say some organizations who understand the value of going rural?
Yeah, so yes, we are funded. But the point I just want to bring is we got at a scale of, as I said, almost 160, 170 crore volume per month by just taking 30 crores of funding. So we have taken 30 crores over 2 rounds. We have not gone to any, VCs and all. We have taken from angel funds or, family offices. So 9 unicorns and venture capitalists are the lead investors. In the first round where, we raised around 15 crore and then we have raised another 18 crore, in less than a year for double the valuation. And probably we are doing a bridge now at almost again 2.5 times the last time valuation. So, but again, as of now, we've raised a couple of rounds. We've raised close to 5 million or less than 4.5 million so far.
That's good. And your funders will be happy if you're turned EBITDA positive so soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
I have one question. So something which has intrigued is the data, and something you touched upon as well, is the data which is generated. And I'm sure a lot of it is still at a nascent stage in terms of how it can be leveraged better. Because from what I see, you would probably, as Hesa as a platform, will have access to the household expenses per month. Share of the wallet, let's say, per month, which is divided across different product categories.
Yeah.
Which I think is an extremely strong data point. I'm sure all the biggies, FMCGs would put billions to get this kind of access. Now, are you able to leverage these data in a way where I'm sure with the advent of AI, etc., which just becomes an enabler in this regard? What are some of the data trends? I mean, two questions here. What are some of the data trends it is throwing out today? Is rural India also spending relatively in comparison with urban India? Because I don't think when we talk about rural India, it is poor. I don't think personally. I think that the ethos, etc., are very different from urban India per se. But it's a mix of audience there. And number two, do you find some of the aspects still challenging in terms of data which is getting generated, but what to do with it? How do we look at the data, for example? Because even unstructured data will also be there. We just can't talk about very structured data every time.
So, I mean, yeah, thanks for asking this question. So the first question, if I have to answer, as I said, I mean, it's not just rural that we show, we see it in pictures like, where people with no clothes and, I mean, it's really changed. People are ambitious. People have, really, kind of, I wouldn't say it's like, you can compare that with the urban, but let me tell you some facts. Like we almost sell 6 to 7 TVs, which are more than 1 lakh every month. People are buying. We sell Dove soaps to rural people are buying. So Dove soap, I mean, so I mean, I'm trying to bring the kind of perspective over here. Like, people buy rotovators, which are costing 3.5 to 4 lakhs. Tractors, to anyway, that has been norm for very long. But, people are, buying, different kind of thing. Aspirational products are coming there. So yes, it's a good insight for, the brands to actually get in. While I said we are working with, certain brands, but it's a huge opportunity because today the data that we are creating, for example, there are two things. One, Santur has asked us to do a survey in 500 villages where I want to understand certain, questions like, that's a specific survey we do for Santur and we give it to that. We don't use that as a part of our generic insights, but the data that we are generating from our business, like, as I said, we are already using in terms of like launch the, white label. But it's a huge opportunity. Like today, there are some discussions, projects, happening where like an AC Nielsen or somebody wanted to do actually some kind of an, surveys or analysis. But, I think somebody who is in a consulting industry, I think it's a huge opportunity because there are a lot of corporates who are looking for, these kind of an insights, and we have the kind of strength in terms of physically people having technology wise, we are already sitting on a lot of data sets. We can actually co-create certain solutions in terms of, how can we use this data, to launch certain products or services, or how this can be used by large corporates or MNCs. I think that will be an interesting point actually to do that. And lastly, the data that we are generating as of now, there is a lot of unstructured data. In fact, like for example, we also have another important good feature, in our app, which is people can order something which is not there in Hesa also. And that's how we come to know that what is that people are, it's not, see, for example, if I go to an Amazon, I can only order a product which is there on Amazon. But how will Amazon know that I want a product which is not there in Amazon? So we have a feature. In fact, when we started, it's like almost 40%, 50% the requests are like products which we don't have. After repeatedly getting this, we know that, okay, I think 7 out of 10 people are ordering this product. So let's add this product into our catalog. So that is the feature which we have. And the second version, which is the gig one, which I'm talking about, that's a huge opportunity. Again, it's in a very nascent stage. Probably sometime when it becomes big, I'll again talk on the other model that, other model, it's the same in Hesa only, but it's a huge opportunity we're thinking about.
So one more, sorry, Vamsi, what about the ONDC? Have you looked at how you guys can leverage it, or
we are integrating with? We are already integrating with
yeah.
ONDC on two things. By the way, ONDC in 2021, 21,
yeah,
20, they have conducted an All India hackathon.
Yeah.
And we won the first prize there. So
brilliant. Okay.
And then we started, yes, but initially first 1 year ONDC's focus was on more to, integrate the urban place, which they have done. And starting last 2 months, we have already integrating ONDC on two things. One, ONDC has almost 3,000 agri input, input companies who have listed, and that can actually be listed on through Hesa to the, Hesatis or the end customers, which we are integrating. Second thing is, and again, a great opportunity. Like today, there is a huge gap for the logistics in rural. So we that's the other model, what I'm talking about, where we are piloting of integrating, where anybody in the rural can order anywhere other than Hesa, but it is delivered by a Hesati.
Sorry, Vijay, I interrupted you.
Sorry. I'd like to ask a question. You talked about that you are selling some white label products. Now, I presume that these white label products are they being produced in the rural economy, or are they being produced somewhere else and then being sold to the villages?
Very nice question.
Because what I was thinking is that since you are having so much of interaction with the villages, there you could help the villagers also to upgrade their own products, maybe do some agri processing and create some additional products from whatever they are making there, and then those products would get sold to other parts of the country.
Yeah, I think very relevant and nice question. Thanks for bringing this. I have not planned for this, but let me show you something. Answering your question before I show something, 99.9% of our entire buying is done from the farmers only. So that answering your question. But yes, then it goes to processing units. 80% of today we give it to a processing unit, but 20% is what we have created. Let's see this example. All these women, there are close to 3,000 women who are in Orissa who are selling groundnut before Hesa entered. As per the ODOP, one district, one product. So Hesa came in, we intervened, we helped them set up almost today, as of now, we have helped set up almost 275, 280 cold pressed oil units, where all these 30 women, 40 women come together, they bring their groundnut, they process it, we have white labeled it, and then we sell it. And then we have around 3,000 women who are, who are actually producing puffed rice. And that's a white label brand, which we, sell it. And then we have around 1,500 women who are, setting up, we have helped them set floor pulverizers, and we do it. But having said that, yes, entire 100% buying happens from rural only. Today, 20% only processing happens in rural because that capacity building has to happen. And that's where we are working with government or certain initiatives. But yeah, processing happens in processing units. When we started, it is 100% processing units. Today, at least we are happy that in last 2 years, 20% has actually gone back to getting processed in rural itself. And we are selling it to rural consumers through, again, our Hesati network. And we are selling the product which is aspirational. Like today, the same 5 rupee masala packet, if I buy it from if you go to any remote village, the kind of packing it has versus the kind of branding our product has, or the kind of aspirational, look our product has, that's what we're offering to the rural consumers. There are many such examples which you can, actually can take on like that.
That's very, very impressive.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. My pleasure.
So I have one more question in the same light, and Jay, I know that you will have a hard stop sometime.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
that's fine. So, Vamsi, I think one of the challenges, and again, I think you have also touched upon it, and it's an initiative that you're working on. I think one of the biggest challenge when we also speak about unit economics is the fact that supply chain is also an impediment most of the times, perhaps the reach out and the whole infrastructure that we are talking about. So as maybe in the last 2-3 years and onwards, do you see this trend also changing? Because I'm sure the way we look at it, next 5-7 years, at least from an overall connectivity point of view or improvement in supply chain, from where we sit, it looks that it will be very, very, I think it will be unprecedented to the journey so far. But since you are very close to this and you can validate, perhaps.
No, I think you're absolutely bang on that. See, I think there has been a lot of work happening on the first mile logistics and the mid mile logistics, but not on the last mile logistics. So at least that first mile is like when you go from a larger, city or to a towns or and then the mid-mile to the, at least the larger villages. So I think there a lot of work happening. There are a lot of supply chain companies who are enabling it. There are a lot of warehousing companies who are enabling it. But again, I think this is where, in fact, we kind of work on. See, today, if any large brand works through a super stockist distributor network, and typically these distributors are the people who reside in a 2 lakh, 3 lakh population towns, and they are happy with that 2 lakh, 3 population, or they may go to 3, 4 towns which are having 50,000, 1 lakh population, and they're happy. But if I have to get the same 3 lakh population, I have to get into 1,000 odd villages, because we have discussed about the challenges. What we are doing is we tell to the Himalaya brand saying that, okay, you have a warehouse, distributor in Visakhapatnam. I have 1,200 Hesatis in and around Visakhapatnam. These are the 3 routes in which these Hesatis are located. This is the minimum order quantity that I take from you. Every week I order it, or whatever, based on the the demand that comes in. Now you go and deliver. So now it makes sense for a distributor to deliver, because rather than me trying to find a one way, Kirana store, and I don't know whether he will buy or not, now I have a fixed demand and it's prepaid. In our Hesa model, it's a prepaid. People have to load the wallet, pay that 1,000 rupees, and then only the stock is getting delivered. So that's the kind of, the aggregated, organized demand that we're creating, so that fulfillment from the business becomes easy. But yes, this is as of now the model. But going forward, that's where, as I said, we are creating something called a gig economy. We are working on those similar lines, and also a lot of work being happening from multiple corners. And while I agree with the point that in next 5 to 6 years, there will be a lot of work that will be happening, maybe because of the way infrastructure develops, the way roads are connected, the way multiple opportunities come generated for warehousing and logistics. I think things will become much more easier, and it will become, in fact, it all helps the consumption more, and the economy to grow there.
Wonderful. I think we are just a couple of minutes left. Any questions from anybody else? I'm sure there are many, and which, Srinivasan, please go ahead.
Vamsi, I'm from a rural. Okay, I'm from interior part of Tamil Nadu, and presently I'm based in Chennai. I also run a consulting. Looking at your presentation, going through it by the words of whatever by virtue, you are a brilliant business person. But the way I wanted to attend your session is, I thought something rural and all. But somewhere down the line, all your SDG goals and things and all, somehow it doesn't satisfy me as you are a rural person. That means you are trying to solve a rural problem. That is where, please forgive me for giving my personal opinion.
No, sure.
Everybody would have appreciated you. You would have got the first prize in ONDC. You would have got the first prize from Prime Minister, everybody. But to me, you are not solving the problem of rural. You are solving a problem of your bank, and maybe how quick you will sell your company, that I know.
Thanks for the feedback. Yeah, and I take it.
That's one. That's number one. Number 2, if you really ask me what you want to do, I would recommend form like similar to FPO, or form a forum, or go and study in depth about Amul. Okay, a beautiful cooperative developed by Dr. Kurian. That could be one best model. If you adopt and do it for rural, you'll be the first person will be happy from my heart and feel like somebody is solving the challenge of rural.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the feedback. Yes, we also studied the, personally, I also studied the Amul model and all. In fact, when I started, I kind of started as first 3 years, I didn't even register, because I was not sure whether should I run it as an FPO or should I run it as an NGO or, a cooperative society. But later realized that I think it's my personal feeling that because any impact, has to happen at a scale, and and for that, rather than an NGO or a cooperative society model, it's best to again, it's my feeling it's best to create through a for-profit social commerce model. So yes, we are working for there's a business end of the day, but it's a social commerce model. Yeah, and yeah, your points are taken. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think fair enough. That's a view which also comes out. So see, all in all, Vamsi, I think for most of us, or I'm sure for all of us, this was sort of an eye opener, because this is one side that we just read about it, right? From the horse's mouth, you don't get to hear what this model actually does, and maybe come to think of it, it really is impacting the life of a Hey Sathi, a Hey Sakhi, etc. In a way that we can't imagine, because that changes their lives. It is helping them to empower, make money, run their household, forget about maybe fulfilling others' requirement, and making slightly more even India, or Bharat, that we can call it. Of course, it's a long way to go, and I'm sure you're already looking at that journey. So a lot of steps that needs to still be covered. But for sure, I think this was extremely insightful. Some of us, I think they're already writing to me separately as well. Would like to connect with you, speak to you, and also try and see areas which perhaps could add value, for sure. And I think this recording would also be circulated across the different chapters and overall IMCI as well, which I think primarily also from the point of data that we touched upon, it's a real gold mine, not only from a business standpoint. I think it's a gold mine because finally it is helping the ends meet for the last mile connectivity issues, the data which are not there, the primary research, even the secondary research that even the best of the research companies would do, won't get this kind of data, which will bring their study much more accurate. So I think all in all, this was excellent. Thank you very much for taking this time out. I knew this was the audience was slightly different in a way to
that's fine. Everybody has their own opinions to it. I mean that's the first thing as an entrepreneur, where we have to take the feedback, and very well taken, because there is a point in it. Because I think the most successful model, because at a scale, because see the kind of scale Amul has got into it is not possible until unless people come as a cooperative or some kind of a forum. That's the point I'm taking in. And I mean, again I have to see how best we can integrate into our kind of a model. So, but yeah, otherwise, as I said, the kind of income, people are generating sitting in the village, and like somebody who would have stayed in a village where 10, 15 times they have to go in a month to a nearby multiple places. At least we are able to solve some part of their problem, which gives a lot of immense satisfaction to us.
Absolutely. And we all wish you the very best. So, I mean, thank you is not enough, because what this is really making a real impact to the side of India that we do not know much. Yes, Vijay, please.
I have a very small question. Does this word Hesa have some meaning?
Hesa, no, actually, I mean, if we derive from some, certain deeper Sanskrit languages and all, it has a meaning like grandeur. But yeah, it is a combination of 2-3 things, where my wife's name is Hema and daughter's name is Sahasra. So Hesa. But yeah, if you have seen the Bahubali movie, like whenever there is a good, like, I mean, like, great thing happen, it sounds like Hesa, like that it comes. So it has a good positive meaning to the word. So that's how we have kept it.
Great job. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you all of you to join in. I'm sure we'll come back with another interesting session next month. Till then, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.